Excellent. So, hello everyone, I'm Simon and I am here at Jamchester, the UK's biggest professional game jam in Manchester, held over a weekend. Now, we are interviewing the winners of some of the awards. So, one of our fantastic awards, sponsored by Microsoft, one of our main sponsors for Jamchester, was the Microsoft Best Use of VR Award. So, we have Lee here from Microsoft. We'll just get him to explain the criteria for the award first and Microsoft's involvement in the event.
Oh, thanks, Simon. So take the mic off him. So we've been here for the last weekend, just really sponsoring the event from a VR perspective, and we've looked at VR for Windows. So again, it's any device. So whether it's HTC Vive, Oculus Rift, Cardboard, but built for Windows. So Win32, a Windows 10 app, running on Windows, so built in Visual Studio or Unity or Unreal. So it's been really great. Had so many entries, my mind is a bit melted from going around and playing VR, which has been great. I've been able to say which is best, Oculus versus HTC. And again, so it's been really aimed at those devs to try and create, number one, a showcase. And what we're going to be doing with the winner, with these guys, is they're going to come down to Microsoft, down to our HQ. We're going to set up a room for them to do a bit of a showcase, and Microsoft staff can come through, play the game, and which is great because it's an experience game. We've got more than one player. We've got players and guiders, so it could get a bit messy. And again, we're given the opportunity to talk about their company, so it's great that they're a small indie company, so they can talk about Sigtrap, talk about their experiences of building VR experiences and their experience of Jamchester. So it's a great little story to try and help developers. And the key thing here as well is the visor, so passes that visor over there.
Yeah, we have.
So again, the key thing is about these little devices. So this has come from a Microsoft Ventures alumni startup called Visor, who are based out of Hull. So again, it's a northern company, and we've been helping them get a bit of press, bit of exposure about creating these great cardboard devices and branding them as Google Cardboard or Microsoft Cardboard or even Team Visors. So one of the teams today won the opportunity to have one of these devices branded as their company. Again, so it's just about creating that exposure piece for indies.
So we've got a whole other interview that will be available on the YouTube channel with Lee and his colleague Trish, talking about Microsoft and their SDK and the sort of stuff that they've provided for the people today, because loads of people have used Windows phones. It's all been very exciting and very well supported by Microsoft. So thanks again to them. Check out the other video, loads more information. If we get around to it, we'll put a link on the bottom of the page. I'll just try to do Linky McLinkface. Linky McLinkface. We'll try. We'll work out the technology. We'll pay the marketing department to do that. So, so the three guys in the middle. I'll get you to introduce yourselves. What's your name?
I'm Luke.
I'm Gary.
I'm Will.
So these three guys are Sigtrap Games. Sigtrap Games, you have other people that work with you at different times as well, don't you? So Sigtrap Games, the multi-award nominated, multi-award winning studio based in Manchester. You're at the Sharp Project now, which is a place for digital companies in North Manchester. Amazing location with loads of games companies and digital companies. So these guys have won the Microsoft Best Use of VR award. I have to say it in the right order. It's not Microsoft VR, it's Microsoft's use of VR. So
Microsoft VR.
Yeah. So these guys used a HTC Vive headset, which Gary's got here. So if you don't know what it looks like, so the two probably most famous computer-connected headsets are the Oculus Rift, the HTC Vive. HTC Vive also measures where you are in 3D space, so you can walk around and it measures where you are. So I'm now doing all the talking. And so Luke, what was describe the game in 30 seconds.
30 seconds. Oh, I've wasted most of that now. Yeah, the Crystal Curse, which is a name we just we started off with what was it? Cindiana Bones and the Maze of Crystal. Yeah, it was bad. So it's basically it was the Crystal Maze in VR was sort of the key idea. So we've got someone in the VR space with the headset on, and then a team of 2 or 3 people looking at the monitor where they would see different information. So they would see different parts of the game world to what the person in VR was seeing. So that they had to work together to work out the puzzles and work out how to get from one side of the room to the other, and then there'd be multiple rooms. So ideally, there'd sort of be 3 people at the monitor, 1 person in VR, and it's all chaotic and everybody's shouting over each other while they're trying to solve these puzzles. So it's a really cool sort of little VR sort of local multiplayer social kind of thing, where it depends on communication and people really playing together.
So it's kind of like a VR party game, really, isn't it? Yeah. So it was very exciting to watch people play it as well as play it. So it's just like you could sit in a room after a few beers and have fun playing it. So Gary, what was the challenge making art for this game? Because you're the artist extraordinaire.
I guess it was the time constraints. Trying to come up with like a visual style that was quite quick to generate, whilst also just keeping it looking good in a way. So we went with the sort of like low poly look, which was it worked out quite well. It looked nice. Did a bit of processing, some particles.
It worked well with
stuff.
Sort of the Aztec-ish theme.
Aztec Zone.
Yeah, exactly.
So loosely Aztec. I was just like, I had like a Google tab with like Mayan architecture and another Google tab with like Aztec architecture, and I was like, oh god, I'll just mash everything together. It's just going to be made out of stone and like weird geometric patterns. That's
Well, you can see stuff on jamchester.devpost.com and also on the Gameopolis website and the Hack Manchester website. You'll be able to see a bit more of that. So we should again point out that
Sigtrap,
they released their game Sub-Level 0 last year. It's available on Steam now at a very reasonable price. So we'll cut that bit out.
Double developer award.
So this is what I'm about to say. Sir, this is what I'm about to say. I know what I'm on brand. I'm on message. So Sigtrap and Sub-Level 0. So they've been nominated for 2 Develop Awards, which is the Develop Magazine and Develop Writing Conference, which is the biggest UK games conference, industry conference. So it's quite a big deal to get nominated for this. And they got nominated for 2 awards. So we had I think we had 11 awards nominated for Manchester companies. And Sigtrap got 2 nominations, one for Best New Studio and one for Best Audio. So this is where we seg into talking to Will about the audio. So you guys have been nominated for the Developer Award, which is obviously great. So if people want to play, they can play Sub-Level 0 on Steam and listen to the amazing audio. So what was the audio? What was the challenges for this game that you made for the Game Jam?
I suppose the challenge with any game jam for audio is that there isn't enough time to do all the fancy implementation stuff. So I've done a few game jams with these guys, and it's always the case that they're working on the code and the artwork like continuously, and then I finish the music quite early on, so I want to be a bit more ambitious with it, but then there isn't time to implement the like dynamic music or whatever. So with this game I tried to do it a bit differently and create music that matched the different moods, but I could do it in a way that was easy to implement. So we had various pieces of music that had a structure that fitted the timings of the gameplay. So it was kind of a way to make it feel more immersive and dynamic without the extra work going into the implementation of it.
So it sounds fantastic, and Sub-Level 0, a lot of people have wanted to buy the soundtrack for that, so that's probably the best compliment that you can get. You have it. Have you bought it? Have you got it on vinyl? Yeah. So the soundtrack is so good that people want to buy it, and then we've got this new game from the Game Jam as well. So do you think the idea seems to have worked pretty well and been really popular and won an award? Do you think it's something that you would take further? What do you think, Luke?
I think it's a really, really it's got a lot of potential in sort of a large space, so a large space both in terms of project and budget and physical space. I think it's something that would work well really as a sort of an installation kind of thing. I think the challenge with VR is always finding things that translate well from VR to sort of the end user. What are people in their living rooms actually going to play? And a project like this, I think, would be more aimed towards larger spaces.
So as we were talking about it on VR with Lee and the Visor VR games. So experiential stuff, as they call it. Yeah. Experience stuff that's in an arcade or an art gallery or something.
Yes,
like
exactly.
That. Yeah.
And I think there's a really interesting future for VR in that kind of where you're not limited by the space or the hardware, and you can sort of say, okay, this is what we're going to do. We're going to have these custom installations, these custom peripherals, custom hardware, and you can really do incredible things that you could never do before. And that's a really interesting space that I think is going to fill out a lot in the next few years, and I think that's going to be really cool.
Yeah, excellent. Well, thanks again to Sigtrap, multi-award winning, multi-award nominated game studio from Manchester. Fast becoming the kings of VR, and won another VR award. So, well, congratulations to them, and we will see more great things for them in the future. Thanks very much, guys.
Cheers.
And thanks to Microsoft and Lee as well.